If you're working to create a better relationship with your body, I want to have a conversation with you about how I overcame chronic illness multiple times with multiple illnesses and the relationship that that led to me having with my body, and how I want you to shift your perspective, how you can shift your perspective on the relationship that you have with your body that may make a world of difference for you. We are taught that our body is working against us, that aging is this horrible, terrible thing that starts at 25, and that once we are in the pit, in the tornado of aging and decline, we can't get out of it. Now, if you're watching this, I don't think that you believe that that's true. I don't believe that that's true. Yes, there are parts of aging that we can't escape from, and it's not as dramatic as I think that it is right now in mainstream media, that it has been with the collective of the United States of America. At least that's who I can speak for. I live in Ohio, and I think it's time we're shifting the story. I'm seeing this story shifting. It's when I realize that my body is working for me, not against me, is when I could really start to create a relationship with it. And parts of my relationship with my body are still somewhat severed, and I'm still developing some of those. A lot of them are healed. A lot of my initial reactive thoughts are now reflecting the beliefs I've created that show me the evidence that my body is working in my favor, that we are a team, that it's not working against me, and that the disease that I got diagnosed with at 24 years old was one of the best things that happened in my life, because it turned on and it flicked on my awareness and relationship to my body and what it was trying to tell me the whole time. It was trying to scream at me that I wasn't taking care of myself, that I wasn't putting myself and my worth into my relationships at the time, that I was accepting much less than what I wanted out of life. And it was reflecting my lack of self-worth and my lack of commitment to myself, that it was screaming so loud I almost died. And I've come to believe that every symptom is nothing but a language that we get to learn to read from our body. We get to learn the language that it's speaking to us with. The sensations, the symptoms, the feeling good feelings, the feelings that we get from the hormones that we can scientifically analyze and like make a chart for how we get our dopamine and serotonin up, which can be like really fun and stuff. But ultimately, what are those things telling you? What is the relationship they have to you, to your body? What is your body saying? How is your body telling you that it wants something, even if you feel resistance to the thing? Like, I want to go work out and I want to start weight training and I want to push myself, but like, ew, that doesn't feel really good. How do we navigate the weird, convoluted conversation? It's not any different than a romantic or any intimate relationship where there's crossfire sometimes and things don't make sense, and the other person's life experiences or trauma or limited worldview is fighting with your life experiences or trauma or limiting worldview, and like you can't figure out how to talk to each other, but you know that like you're not actually having a good conversation, and you know that the conversation can improve, and you'll get glimpses of good communication and you'll have moments of breakthrough and connection. Same thing, except it's just with our body. And very recently I was invited onto a show, and I was getting prepared with what I was going to talk about with my story of autoimmune and relationship issues and all the things. And my mind brought up a statement that made me cry driving into the car on the way to the interview, which I didn't even use in the interview because we ended up talking about something else, was that my body would have died trying to advocate for my worth. That's the cat. My body would have died trying to advocate for my worth. It was screaming so loud, it wanted me to hear it so much, it loves me that much, that it would have died trying to communicate that to me. Which brings us a little bit separate from our body. That sort of separates us. I am not my body. My body is not me. And viewing it from that way does create a sort of separation, but it's beautiful because then you can create a relationship. You're not defined by your diseases and your symptoms and your pain and your mental health issues. That's something that's happening within the relationship of whatever you are to your body. And we can talk forever because we can add the environment onto that relationship. We can add our food onto that relationship. We could add our relationships onto those relationships because it is all connected. And I found so much strength and pull towards the goals I wanted when I did always come back to me and my body. Me and my body against the world. Me and my body towards my goals. Me and my body get to have a connection deeper than any other connection on the planet, because I am with my body all day long, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Sleeping, awake, mad, happy, tired, angry. I am always with my body. So if you think you have a best friend, or you think you have a partner who's your best friend, and you're just like, oh my gosh, we're always together, you're with your body more. And you're going to work to develop those relationships. So like, why aren't we working to develop these relationships? My fiance doesn't talk the same way that I do. He doesn't explain the same way that I do. He doesn't communicate the same way that I do. His mind doesn't work the same way as mine. But we love each other, so we're figuring that out. And we're learning how to communicate to each other, how to understand each other. It's the same thing. If there's one lesson I want this channel to give you, is that your body is communicating with you and for you. And we can learn how to read that language of the body. And all of our bodies might speak a little bit differently, but there's a lot of patterns and a lot of similarities across the board that I've seen with myself and a whole bunch of other people on their healing journeys, that when we can come and communicate together about it, as we can also go solo and communicate together about it and try to learn things. It's not a surprise to me that the very place that my body was ripped apart, because I had a surgery to a bowel resection in my ileocecal valve area, that is correlated with the solar plexus, which is a chakra, that's correlated to personal power, which is an energy that we all have. And right before I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease and had this abdominal surgery and had this part of the solar plexus removed because it was diseased, I was so far away from my personal power and my willpower and my divine anger that I had to consider that maybe there was something to different parts of the body represent different parts of ourselves. And whether or not you believe in Eastern religion, Western religion, no religion, spirituality, atheism, whichever way you're coming from, you can find evidence to show you that this is actually kind of true. There's this doctor called Gabor Maté, which I will sure talk about him a lot, and he is a physician that was a physician for a very long time, that now has started to see and study that diseases don't just happen at random. There's patterns and personalities for each disease, and there's patterns in personal history in each disease. And the more I've explored that, they match my personal history for the most part. They match other people's personal history for the most part. And now when I see somebody and they tell me they have an autoimmune disease, I'm really curious to ask, because that's going to tell me a lot about them. And when I reflect that to them, a lot of times it's right. And this is a new thing that we're looking into. And no, it's not 100% correct, but something is there. There's a pattern here. We can see it and we can use it. And why would I let the medical system tell me that I have no authority or no agency to have a relationship with my own body and to heal? And that I'm screwed for the rest of my life because they say so. Like, maybe that's true. Maybe. But I'll let that be true as I try everything else to make sure that that's not true, and believe that the truth is that the body is made to heal. Cut yourself, it heals. You don't have to do anything. Give yourself a paper cut. You don't have to do a thing besides not rip it open more, and that paper cut will heal itself. Not a thing. Not an ounce of energy other than the fact that you hit it, that it hurts. I am a huge advocate for diet and lifestyle and exercise, and diet and lifestyle and exercise was one of the primary things that helped me get off of these extreme medications for Crohn's disease after 7 years. I do not want to minimize those whatsoever, and I could not seem to make those changes unless I started with what was happening in my mind and how that might be affecting my body. And the foods only served to clear my mental state and my body of toxins so I could put more energy into figuring out how my soul wasn't being expressed in the first place. Because all the toxins do, and all the highly processed foods, and all the sugar, and all of the lack of movement does, is just slow down the pipeline of my mental clarity. So I do believe that these work together. But I ultimately believe that the health crisis is a direct reflection of the disconnection of our mind and body, working together as a team. Include the soul in there if you want to. I'm not trying to be dogmatic with description. I'm trying to highlight that our bodies are speaking for us, and we are conditioned over and over to think that we have no control of our bodies and our bodies are working against us because we age. But if you look hard enough, you'll find evidence that people can age and still have vitality. People can age and still have purpose. People can age and still have sex. People can age and still have great relationships and make new friends. We don't have to wither away and become a hermit just because we're getting older. So this is a big reason for this channel. This is part of how I view the world and how I know people are starting to view the world, and I just want to help spread and magnify that message. It's helped me in my healing journey. It's helped me so much in my life to realize that my body is working for me, not against me. My symptoms are working for me, not against me. And that my body would have died trying to advocate for my self-worth. Because the communication started slow. It started small. It started with a little stomach upset. It started with a little pain. It started with a little brain fog. It started with a little more stomach upset. And then the language, it started getting louder because I wasn't listening. It started getting louder because I wasn't listening. Then we got more gut stuff, and then more symptoms, and then more disconnection from my body. And then as my life started to get more and more toxic, my symptoms we're trying to be like, hey, we don't want to go this way. Hey, we don't want to go this way. Hey, no, stop it. No, stop it. No, stop it. Until eventually I was in the hospital, and either I had to listen to what my body was telling me or die. And part of me does believe that if I did not take this route of learning to have a relationship with my body and believe that it's working for me, then the mainstream medical route would have either left me dead or would have left me severely impaired with not much of a life to live. If this message hits you, subscribe or comment or share it with somebody who might like it. I appreciate you very much. Thank you.